Good afternoon, fellow curve flatteners. We meet here again. I'm Raleigh Brown, and I'm going to play you some music with my old guitar. This is my old guitar, and then over here I have my really old guitar. We're going to use that in a little while. And I welcome any of you who stop by to listen. Everybody is mourning the loss of John Prine, as do I. He was a wonderful songwriter. And I'm going to do something related to him in a little while. But there's another great songwriter who died on this day 44 years ago. And that was Phil Oakes, who was one of my great heroes and who wrote a lot of great political and topical material, but subsequently wrote a lot of just beautiful songs. So I'm going to sing this little tribute to Phil, and I'll talk about it a little afterwards. Phil wrote this. It was on an Indiana farm in the middle of the country, growing in the fields of grain, Jim Dean of Indiana. His mama died when he was a boy. His daddy was a stranger. Marcus Winslow took him in. Nobody seemed to want him. The hired hand sang like a storm. Sometimes he would beat him, for he would never do the chores. He was lost in dreaming. He never seemed to find a place with the flatlands and the farmers. So he had to go one day, he said, to be an actor. Once he came back from the movie town with starlets from the stages. They locked themselves inside his room. The people turned their faces. That a neighbor ran from the movie house. The chickens, they were scattered. He swore he saw upon the screen Jim Dean of Indiana. He played a boy without a home, torn with no tomorrow, reaching out to touch someone, a stranger in the shadow. The Winslows left for the movie town. They drove across the country. They hoped that he would stay around, and they hoped he would be friendly. He talked with them for half an hour, but he was busy racing. He left for the Grapevine Road, and they left for Indiana. Marcus heard on the radio the movie star was dying. He turned the tuner way down low so Hortense could go on sleeping. It was not until they reached the farm the hired man was waiting. The wind was silent through the grain. It was just as they had told him. They buried him just down the road, a mile from the farmhouse. And it was there I laid a flower for Jim Dean of Indiana. So that's Jim Dean of Indiana by Phil Oakes. And Jan and I, we were out in the Midwest one time and saw that we were near Fairmount, Indiana. So we made that trip. And I think I might have left a guitar pick on that grave site, and more in Phil Oakes' honor than in James Dean's. I see you on there, Alex, buddy. Thank you. I'm going to send people over to your site as soon as I'm done here. So I'm going to change things up a little. Usually I do a couple tunes and then an instrumental and then one more tune. I'm going to do the instrumental early today and then do 2 more tunes. And Steve Snyder, I saw you're on there too. You stick around. Your word has been heeded. So I thought I'd play a little bit of jazz for you today. This is one of the quintessential tunes in the jazz standard repertoire. And you'll probably recognize it, or else I'm really failing badly here. It's called Autumn Leaves. So that's Autumn Leaves. When you get real live music like this, you get chances taken. Sometimes all those chances work. Other times, not so much. So this next song I'm going to do for you is was written by an old friend of mine, but it sounds so much like a John Prine song that everybody always thought it was a John Prine song. So I have to tell them. This is written by a guy named Jeff Bartley. Jeff lives up in Boston, and he has been a huge figure in the local Boston music scene as well as a touring musician for many years. I can only think that when he wrote this song, that it was like an exercise in trying to write a John Prine song. So that could be true. It could, maybe it's not so true. I don't know. But even I once was David Bromberg used to run a jam down in Wilmington, and I went down there one night and I played it, and he thought it was a John Prine song, and he used to play behind John Prine. So what are you gonna do? Jeff Bartley. This is called One Kind Word. I know a man. He never says a word. He strums his old Gibson. Sings like a bird. The dreams in his head, they're almost gone. The times keep changing as the years wear on, and it don't take much to wag my tail. Give me hard-boiled eggs, a little beer in a pail. You gotta work pretty hard to drive me away. But one kind word, and I will stay. Driving in my car, I travel all around. I get up on the stage here in your town. I used to chase all the women, I guess I still do. But love is best when it's tender and true, and it don't take much to wag my tail. Give me hard-boiled eggs, a little beer in a pail. You gotta work pretty hard to drive me away. But one kind word, and I will stay. Up all night and I sleep all day. People ask me how I live this way. Well, I don't call it living, I call it just getting by. If I had the ambition, I'd be a hell of a guy. And I'm about half crazy. At the end of my chain, nobody knows how I stand the strain. If you treat me hard, well, I might turn mean. I'm at my best. Times get lean, and it don't take much to wag my tail. Give me hard-boiled eggs, a little beer in a pail. You gotta work pretty hard to drive me away. One kind word, and I will stay. Jeff Bartley's song. I think of it as a tribute to John Prine. I see Big Dan's out there. Hi, Big Dan. And I see Bunny, and I see Karen Beatty, my dear. And I suspect my wife is on here somewhere, unless she got stuck on the phone or something. So I'm going to do one more for you. And this was, I'm not terribly fond of requests. Some I might take and some I might not. But Steve Snyder requested this one. And if I can remember all the words, my buddy Andy Cohen, who I just talked to, whose wife just had a little bit of surgery, and he's looking after her right now. So you might see him online for a day or two. I don't know what that big noise was. I must have hit the jackpot. Andy, I think of as the king of hokum, in a very good way, you know. And but this hokum song, all of us Ohioans learned this song from the playing and writing of Al Diamondstein, a.k.a. Al Opel-Schwartz. Hi, Peter Neff. See you there. And this is my original plan for today was to have dogs in every song. So there's a kind of dog theme in one kind word. And I was going to do some other ones, but I didn't. But this one has the word dog in it because of the hot dog theme. And speaking of dogs, I hear some noise here, and we may get a visit from Suki the dog. Come here. Let's see if you can get far enough over where people can see you. Hey, hey. No, you can see her butt. That's about all you're going to get from her right now. Okay, you're a good girl. Just don't knock over any of the guitars. So here it is. I dedicate this. I don't think my buddy Marcy, my sister Marcy's here, but I'll dedicate it to her because we used to sing this together too. I know a weenie man. He owns a weenie stand. He sells most everything from hot dogs on down. One day I'll share his life. I'll be his weenie wife. Hot dog, I love that weenie man. I know a bun lady. Her name is Hot Cross Katie. You know she stays up all night long just to baking that good stuff. Now while her buns are in the oven, I'll pop over for some oven. You know she's got a lot of dough, but that's not why I need her. I know a weenie couple, oh, they do the weenie shuffle. You know they're getting up in years, but they're not too old to cut the mustard. Now they shuffle down the street so fast, you could barely catch up, let alone pass. I aim to learn to do that shuffle, and I look forward to it with great relish. Yeah. Now down the street there came two weenies. One was fat and one was skinny. One was a meanie, but one was kind of dreamy, and both of them was wearing beanies. Now I went up and I grabbed those weenies. One was dirty and one was cleany. One was firm and one was leading, and the rest of this song ain't got no meaning. I know a weenie man. He owns a weenie stand. He sells most everything from hot dogs on down. One day I'll share his life. I'll be his weenie wife. Hot dog, I love that weenie man. Hot dog, I love that weenie man. And there you have it, our little concert for today. I want to thank you all for tuning in. And I know you're all doing your best to flatten the curve here and try and get back to a place where we can go out in the world and do this stuff live. But in the meantime, I'm happy to see you all on here, and I send my love. And keep on doing what you're doing, and keep living your life. And I'll see you probably in a couple days. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.